This is the world's first F-150 Lightning electric truck with a front-mounted snowplow. This one has full hydraulic control, up, down, left, right, all from inside the cab. The plow I'm using is the DK2 Everest snow plow. It's almost 7.5 feet wide, and they have mounts available for many different vehicles, but not the F-150 Lightning, so I had to make my own. Let me show you the process. There are 3 screws on each side that hold the active air dam in place. Let me show you how we are going to take off the existing tow hook here. Inside of here, this is just a little rubber piece, and if you look under there, there is a nut there and then one further back, and those 2 bolts, those are 15mm bolts, and those 2 bolts hold this on. I'm going to completely remove the front one, and then the rear one, I'm just going to loosen it up a little bit. I built the mount out of 3-inch square tubing with a 1/4 inch wall thickness. I cut it to 9 inches long and then used the tow hook to transfer the hole spacing. Then I drilled out holes big enough for a 12mm bolt. I cut this piece and placed it up here. I ended up adding a couple of extra holes at the very bottom. That way I could use a long wrench, socket wrench, to get into there and actually attach it. With our test fitting previously on the snow plow, I know that I need to leave this much open until that yellow line. So I can basically shove this entire piece back into there and then weld it up. However, as it sits right here, we're about 15 inches tall. All right, I've moved it so I could move this bar back. You can see here that I'm at a perfect height. This is a foot off the ground. That is right in the middle between the 9 and 14 inches that they recommend. So this is a great height, but this is as far back as I can move it. It still is cantilevered out, just farther than I would like. Again, I want this to be as far back as possible. Here's how it looks. Looks pretty nice. Lines up perfectly there. And then down here, I gave it enough room to be able to get the bolt up through there. The mount was removed from the truck and fully welded using a TIG welder. I also added some additional 1/4 inch plates on each side and fully welded them as well. Then I primed and painted the mount in satin black. Hey, I'm here in the front trunk of the F-150. Let me show you some of the wiring that I have to do. And so this is the battery compartment. And as you can see, this is a very small battery. What I am going to do is hook up the wires that came with the plow, which is really, really simple. So what it comes with is this resettable fuse here, which is 100 amps. And this is going to connect on that post. And then there's also a ground right here. And this ground is going to connect right there on that ground post. And then those 2 wires go to this plug here. Looks like that. And this, I'm actually going to try my best to snake out one of these 2 directions and then bring it around to the front where the mount is down there. So let me go ahead and do that real quick and I'll show you what it looks like. Super, super easy. You can see that's connected there to this little guy. I even wrapped it in electrical tape just because this is, actually, now that I look at it, this is plastic. But I didn't want it to short out on anything down here. And then the black wire comes out that way. It was really easy to snake it through down here. Starting here from the driver's seat, I'm going to show you where I'm going to run the cable for the hand paddle. And right up under here, there is a little rubber grommet, and this is for the wiring harness. And so I'm just going to cut a little slit into that, and then I'm going to run a fiberglass rod out and then grab the wire from the other side. You can see I've popped a little hole in there and then shoved this fiberglass rod up there, and then coming around this side, you can see this rod is coming out here. Now that I've got this, I'm going to wrap this end here around there, pull it through, and then I will need to run this wire out to the front as well. All right, so I've been able to snake that wire out of there. I ran it behind the airbag right there, through this area, and then down here, and I've connected it to the hand paddle. Then let me show you over here. So I've got this wire coming out from back there. I've zip tied it in a couple of places. It goes back around here, similar to how I did the power cable on the other side, except I've got it all zip tied into place, and then it comes out the front and right here. So this way I've got power and the hand paddle sitting here ready to go. Here's how I'm testing the snowplow to make sure that it's actually nice and strong in the mounts. And so when I'm doing this, and I'm watching the mount, it does not move at all. It is very, very strong, and I'm trying to get out here like on the front of this. And yeah, obviously I'm not as heavy as like a snowbank, I hope, but still this is certainly at least putting it to the test a little bit. Time for another test. This one is to monitor the voltage that I've got going on right here. And as I move the hand paddle here, see how much of a voltage drop there is on the battery. Because my monitoring device on the inside of the car always shows it as about 15 volts. And so it must just be pulling it from a different location than this one, or it's just not very accurate. So here we go. And that looked pretty good. It dropped down to about 12.9 volts. Only when I was literally holding the paddle down when it hit the stop. And that's about the worst case scenario. You're not going to be doing that while you're driving around. So yeah, that sounds pretty good. I'm really excited to have a plow on my F-150 Lightning for this winter, and I'll try and do a follow-up video next year to give a review of the plow and see how the build holds up. But for now, If you want to see some technical information about the build, I have another video that talks about that and also clears up some misconceptions that people might have. Also, if you're new here, I've got an entire playlist about converting my 1981 DeLorean into an electric vehicle that you might find interesting. And lastly, making videos for YouTube takes a ton of effort. So if you found this video helpful, I sure would appreciate some help from you. Please send this video to your uncle who thinks EVs are stupid, or send it to your sister who works at Ford, or like the video, or comment, or subscribe. It's all free and it all really helps. This is a slightly different than usual Project Lightning.